Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Mo. Gauranga ki jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we're continuing our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. Today we begin chapter 3, entitled Talks Between Lord Shiva and Sati. Maitreya Uvacha Sada Vidvisator Evam Kalo Vaidriyamanayo Jamadut Svarusasyapi Sumahan Atichakrame Maitreya Uvacha Sada Vidvisator Evam Kalo Vaidriyamanayo Jamatu Svasurasyapi Sumahan Atichakrame Maitreya Uvacha Sada Vidvishator Evam Kalo Vaidriyamanayo Jamatu Svasurasyapi Sumahan Atichakrame. Mataji's? Okay. Maitreya Uvacha. Maitreya said, Sada, constantly, Vidvishato, the tension, Evam, in this matter, in this manner, Kala, time, Vai, certainly, Driyamanayo, continued to bear, Jamatu, of the son-in-law, Shvasu, Rasya, of the father-in-law, Api, even, Sumahan, a very great, Atichakrame, past. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maitreya continued, in this manner, the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksha and Lord Shiva, continued for a considerably long period. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The previous chapter has already explained that Vidura questioned the sage Maitreya as to the cause of the misunderstanding between Lord Shiva and Daksha. Another question is why the strife between Daksha and his son-in-law caused Sati to destroy her body. The chief reason for Sati's giving up her body was that her father, Daksha, began another sacrificial performance in which Lord Shiva was not invited at all. Generally, when any sacrifice is performed, although each and every sacrifice is intended to pacify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, all the demigods, especially Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and the other principal demigods, such as Indra and Chandra, are invited and they take part. It is said that unless all the demigods are present, no sacrifice is complete. But in the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksha began another yajna performance, to which Lord Shiva was not invited. Daksha was the chief progenitor employed by Lord Brahma, and he was a son of Brahma, so he had a high position and was also very proud. So we see in this chapter and the previous chapter, there is tension between the son-in-law and the father-in-law. This happens even today. Sometimes parents don't like the bride, sometimes they don't like the groom. There's always some liking and disliking going on in the material world. So here, even at this very high level, Daksha didn't like Shiva so much. Why? Well, maybe he was thinking that my daughter can get someone better. That's usually the cause. They figure the son-in-law isn't up to my standard. Lord Shiva he's an avadut. He's an unusual personality. He's not your university graduate type. But he had many very great qualities, and that's why Sati was so happy to have him as her husband. But the father didn't like so much, and so there was tension, and there was an aparad, an offense committed, and so it was very, the yagya was more or less spoiled by that incident, but the sages, the other great sages, they didn't let that disturb everything, and even though Daksha and Shiva were having their problems, the rest of the sages carried on and continued and finished the yagya. And then they went back to their own abodes. So, Maitreya Uvacha, that means that the great saint Maitreya is speaking. Now, how is it that Maitreya is speaking? Well, what happened was that earlier in time, Lord Krishna had met with Uddhava, which is in the 11th canto. Sometimes the Bhagavatam is not what we expect chronological. It jumps from one time to another, to another, to another, because the chronology is not the important thing. This happened, and then that happened, and this happened, and that happened. What's important is the Leela to be understood. What's important is to understand the mentality and the bhavas, the emotions and everything. So anyway, we have Lord Krishna speaking with Uddhava, and he gives what is known in the 11th canto as the Uddhava Gita. He speaks to Uddhava the way he spoke to Arjuna, but he goes even deeper. Krishna even goes deeper into relationships and knowledge and behavior of devotee of the Lord. So, and then after giving this wonderful discourse to Uddhava, Krishna requested Uddhava, now you've heard everything I have to say, now you go north, you go to the Himalayas, you go to Badarik Ashram, where the great sages are there, and Nara Narayan, they are there. You go and you repeat to the sages in Badarik Ashram what I have taught you. And Krishna said, now I'm going to leave the planet. So Krishna leaves. So this is taking place after Krishna has already left. So then Uddhava, he was greatly distressed because he loved Krishna so much, and now Krishna was gone. And he was feeling bereft of his most dear and intimate friend and also the Lord of his heart. But his final instruction was, go north, go to the Himalayas, and share what I have spoken to you with everyone there, the sages there. So on his walk, of course in those days they didn't have Wizz Air or Ryanair. So they walked everywhere. That's why they were so strong. Lord Chaitanya, for example, you see him here dancing at the Rath Yatra. He walked all over India. It took him 6 years to walk the entire, but that was normal in those days. Now we can't even walk, to the Kaufland to buy something and come back. You have to take the car. Anyway, so Uddhava is walking, and he's coming from the southern part of India, and as he's walking, he's passing through Hastinapur, and that's where Vidura is. And of course, the news has come that Krishna has left the planet. And so Vidura immediately goes to Uddhava because he's heard that Uddhava was the last person to see Krishna. And he says to Uddhava, you were the last person to see Krishna. Please tell me everything he told you. I have so many questions. I want to know everything. And Uddhava says, I would like to fulfill your desire and tell you everything, but I'm so upset, I'm so hurt that my heart is breaking, and I'm just trying to gather my emotions and my wits together to get up to Badrik Ashram so I can fulfill the Lord's request to me to share with them what they told me. And I just don't have the strength right now. I'm just overcome by emotions. I need time. So Vidura was very much disappointed. So Uddhava said, well, don't be disappointed. He could see that Vidura is very sincere. He said, Maitreya Muni is a great, great sage. And he appeared there in a mystic way. And he heard everything that Krishna said to me. So if you go to Maitreya, he can tell you everything. He can answer all your questions. And I'm just going to carry on and going up to the Himalayas. So that's what happened. We have Vidura coming. He looks for Maitreya. He finds his hermitage, and he presents himself and asks various questions. So a lot of the Bhagavatam is Maitreya speaking to Vidura. That's one thing. Now let's go back to the very beginning where Maharaj Parikshit is coming to a yajna that's being performed by great sages, and Sukadeva Goswami is there. And Sukadeva Goswami, although he was only 16 years old, he had a reputation as one of the most advanced devotees. So all of a sudden, these sages are gathered there. Sukadeva Goswami arrives, and then all of a sudden this king arrives. Everybody knew him, Parikshit Maharaj. He was the emperor, actually. But he's not dressed like a king. He's dressed very, very simply, as we can see here in this photo. Well, it's not a photo, it's a painting, but it looks like a photo because someone has captured it exactly. So Sukadeva Goswami, although he's much younger than many of the sages here, usually you have the senior most people speak. But seniority really is not about age. It's about advancement. So he was the most advanced, so even the senior Vaishnavas are saying, you please speak. And we have here even Narada Muni, who's such a great Vaishnava, one of the topmost. He also wants to hear Shukadeva Goswami speak. So this is the humility of the sages. They're not thinking, hey, I'm senior, why are you not asking me to speak? Not thinking like that. But they're asking, Sukadeva Goswami, you please speak. You're the son of Vyasadeva. You had a special birth. And Maharaj Parikshit is appearing here he's very renounced. He has understood, I only have 7 days to live, and I'd better get serious about my next destination. So he comes and he asks a couple of questions. His main question is, what do you do before the time of death when you know you're going to die? What is the most important thing for a human being to do? And so that begins the Srimad Bhagavatam, the questions by Maharaj Parikshit and the answers by Sukadeva Goswami. Of course, before that, before the questions and answers begins, Vyasadeva gives a little background. So the first canto is background, setting the scene. Now, in this assembly here, there's also one very young devotee over here, and his name is Sutta, Romaharshan Sutta, or Sutta Goswami. And he's totally absorbed in everything that Shukdev Goswami says. And then later, after that happens, that yajna, or I should say that gathering of sages, and Maharaj Parikshit hears for 7 days. Then he's bitten by a snake and he leaves his body. But he leaves his body totally absorbed in Krishna and goes back home, back to Godhead. Then many years pass, and then there's another huge yajna with all the sages of this new era coming together in a place called Naimisharanya. And at that yajna, Sutta Goswami is also there, but now he's much older. And so they're asking him, Sutta, you were there originally when Shukdev Goswami spoke to Maharaj Parikshit. You please tell us exactly everything that was discussed, everything that Shukdev Goswami said, so that we can get the benefit. And that's what the Bhagavatam is. We're hearing from Sutta Goswami, who has a perfect memory. He's called Shrutidara. Shruti means that which is heard, and Dara means what you can hold. So he can hold in his memory everything that he's ever heard. He's even better than a computer, because a computer will crash. But Sutta Goswami's memory never crashes. So Sutta Goswami repeats everything that he heard, word for word, that Shukdev Goswami spoke to Maharaj Parikshit. And that's what we're studying. That's the Bhagavatam. So Sutta Goswami is now speaking to the sages in Naimisharanya, and he's explaining how Maitreya is speaking to Vidura, and he's sharing with the sages what happened when Maitreya told Vidura about this yajna that happened between Daksha and Shiva, this disagreement. So it's very, how should we say, it's very deeply involved. It's not just some simple thing. It's very different layers and levels of understanding transpiring over thousands of years even, because this Daksha and Shiva thing happened way, way in the past. So, but basically what it is it's the result of disturbance, or how should we say it, miscommunication between family members. Of course, in this family situation, we have some of the greatest people, Lord Shiva, and Daksha, who is a son of Lord Brahma. But because he's a son of Lord Brahma, and because he's a Prajapati, which means he's a progenitor, he brings great population into the universe. So he has many wives, and so he's a little puffed up. So Sati is one of his daughters, and she fell in love with Lord Shiva, and Daksha didn't agree. That happens. A woman will fall in love with the man, and the father doesn't like the man. No, you shouldn't marry him. No, I love him. No, he's no good. No, how could you say that? And then disagreement. So there was already tension between the father and the daughter. And then at that yajna, there was some harsh words spoken, offensive words spoken, and Shiva left, Sati left, even Daksha left his own yajna. The sages continued without him. So now, in this chapter, Lord Shiva and Lord Sati are going to be discussing the situation. So that's setting the scene here. So one of the reasons that Daksha offended Lord Shiva is because he wasn't humble. He was puffed up by his own prestige. He was thinking he was better than some others. He didn't take the humble position where he saw everyone as qualified and wonderful and worthy of all respect. Rather than give all respect to others, he wanted all the respect to come to him. And when he didn't get it, he got upset. And then one thing led to another, and all of a sudden the yajna is completely disturbed. There's offense going on. The daughter's freaking out. The son-in-law leaves. So that's what happened. So then Daksha, he thought, okay, I'll just do another yajna. And I'll make it even better than this one. And I'm not going to invite Lord Shiva. He's history. You know, I don't care, son-in-law or not, he's not coming. So that's the next thing that happens, which fries Sati even more. She's already completely fried with her father, and now it's even more fried. And so that's the reason why she, in this chapter coming up, then we're going to see that she goes back to her father and chastises him and says that, I don't even want to be known as your daughter. I'm so humiliated by your behavior towards such a great personality as Lord Shiva, who's my husband after all, who I love. And you're speaking ill words about someone that I love, so that's so painful to me. We all can understand that. When you love someone and someone else comes and speaks ill about that person, you become upset immediately. So these are normal emotional happenings between people, even in our time and even in previous times when people were much more exalted. Still, these things were there. Because when the emotions take over, we lose control of our, how should I say it? We lose control of our sanity, actually. Instead of behaving in calm, cool, collected way, we start acting in a way that offends other people. And it disturbs the situation and relationship that we have with others who are close to us and who we should have a good relationship. So now there's a second yajna. And all the rishis are invited to the second yajna, and they bring their wives, and everyone's really fired up, for the occasion. They're trying to forget about what happened in the past. Let's move forward. But Sati and Shiva, they're not very happy. So this next chapter is very interesting. So we can relate this to our own experiences that we have amongst our friends and family, where there's misunderstanding and harsh words are spoken and feelings are hurt. So this goes on always, and it's always been going on since time immemorial. Today and in the future this will go on. So the whole purpose of human life is to develop saintly qualities, among which are humility and tolerance. When we have humility and tolerance, then we don't behave in such a way to offend others. because we don't think ourselves better than anyone else. What does it mean that I think I'm better than someone else? In other words, that I'm puffed up. Someone is beneath me. I'm above them. It means that I have no humility. And we call that pride, but it begins as pride, but it ends as arrogance, which is a lot heavier. So in our Vedic conception, there's 6 enemies that reside in our heart that destroy our, how should I say it, destroys our ability to be fixed in our spiritual consciousness, because we are actually eternal spiritual beings coming from the spiritual realm. But these 6 qualities, negative qualities in the heart, are called the Chairipu, the 6 enemies. Ripu means enemy, also called Klesh, the 6 things that give us so much trouble in life. And they start from lusty desires. That doesn't mean just for sex life. It can be lust for name, fame, position, money, all, anything that you lust after. That's called kam. Then there's krodha, anger. We get angry when we're frustrated. We get angry when we see someone that we don't like and with someone else who we do like, let's say. We get angry when we see something that we don't accept. Then there's greed. I define greed as lust on steroids. Everyone has lusty desires, but greed means you can never, ever be satisfied. You have to have more and more and more and more and more. Just like these multinational companies, they're not satisfied. They have more money now than most countries, but still not enough. They have to have more profit. So this greed, it's the greatest enemy. And then envy. Matsarya, envy. Greed is lobha. Matsarya, envy. I see someone else and they have something that I have, whatever it happens to be, that I don't have, and you're not their well-wisher. Envy means I'm not someone's well-wisher. There's only 2 kinds of people in existence. Number 1, those who are well-wishers of everyone. Number 2, those who are not well-wishers of everyone. That's it. And the great majority of people are not well-wishers of everybody. It's very rare to find someone who's a well-wisher for everybody. What do we call people who are well-wishers for everyone and their whole life is dedicated for the benefit of other people? What do we call such people? Sadhus, or saints, prophets, holy men, sages. We glorify such people because it's rare. Because in society, especially in Kali Yuga, everybody is not a well-wisher of everybody else. Then that's due to envy. And then we have moha, illusion. Everyone is overcome by illusion. We don't know what is what. The biggest illusion is I'm suffering an identity crisis. I don't even know who I am. I'm thinking I'm this external body, which completely changes. Do you remember when you were a little kid, then a teenager, then a young person, now coming to the older stages? Pretty soon, your hair falls out or goes white. Your eyesight is impaired. You know, you lose your teeth, you lose your strength, you lose your vitality. So we're identifying with that, and that causes great stress and anxiety for us. So that's illusion. The biggest illusion is the identity crisis. We don't know who we are. And because we don't know who we are, therefore we don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't even know what is our destination, what is the goal in life. And then the sixth enemy in the heart is called mada, which means arrogance. It's very interesting. In Sanskrit, the word for arrogance and the word for intoxicated is the same, mada. Because as spirit souls, our constitutional eternal position is to be humble. And the exact opposite, as far away from humility as you can be, is arrogance. Therefore, it's considered to have the same meaning as being fully intoxicated. I'm so intoxicated that I have no idea who I am or how to behave. So this is mada. So these six enemies are in the heart. And because of that, because of these negative things in the heart, there's stress, conflict, tension, wars going on in the world. Even when it comes to religion. My religion is better than your religion. And we have people, in one religion hating. Just like if we look at, the Middle East, for example. If you're born in Palestine, you grow up as a child and they teach you that the Jews are our enemy. If you grow up on the other side of the line, it's only 5 miles away, you grow up and you're taught that the Muslims are our enemy. So what kind of dharma, religion are they being taught? They're just being taught to hate. There's no love. And that's why there's never going to be a solution to the Middle East crisis, because right from the moment they're born, these children on both sides are taught by their parents the other side is the enemy. We don't like them. They're bogus. Their religion is bogus. Everything negative. So you grow up like this. There's no way that can ever be settled, because these mentalities are so deeply ingrained. Negative feelings. So this is the situation in the material world. And so we see that Daksha, he was a little puffed up. He didn't have humility. And out of arrogance or pride, mada, he caused an offense to be committed to Lord Shiva, which ended up in his daughter taking her life. Because she went back and had a talk with her father and said, I'm totally mortified that I'm your daughter, that I'm related to you as a family member. It's the greatest negative thing in my life. And since you gave me this body, therefore, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Therefore, she gives up her body. But how does she give up her body? She sits in Padmasana. She touches holy water. And by the power of her meditation, she goes up into flames. Just imagine the power of this woman, Sati. Nobody can do that. Sati could do that. That's why she was married to Lord Shiva. She was the only one qualified to be his wife. So, but of course, she comes back as Parvati. So she remains his wife. But she's cut that connection to Daksha. And since up to this day, when we say that a wife gives up her body, she's committing sati. We call that ritual sati. She's going to give up her body, following in the footsteps of Sati here, who was originally the wife of Lord Shiva. So it's very interesting that she gave up that body, but the spirit soul is never destroyed. So that spirit soul came again as Parvati, younger and even more beautiful. And again, had a loving relationship with Lord Shiva, which continues forever and ever and ever. Shiva Parvati, they're always together. So that briefly is a summary of what's actually happening here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So are there any questions about any of this? Yes.
I have a question about humility. Can it happen that a person who is humble and thinks himself as the servant of others, can it happen that he is exploited by others?
No, not if he doesn't allow them to be exploited. You have to allow yourself to be exploited by others. You can be humble. There's a difference between humility and low self-esteem. Low self-esteem means I think I'm horrible, I'm not worthy of anything, and I'm foolish and naive, and I allow people to take advantage of me. That's not humility. Okay? Let's look at Srila Prabhupada as an example. Srila Prabhupada is a very, very humble person. And yet he's always like this. You notice? Not like this, but like this. Because real humility means I am proud to be a devotee of Krishna and share this with everyone else. And I honor and respect all other devotees of Krishna. And who are all the other devotees of Krishna? Every other living entity, because we're all spirit soul, Nitya Krishna Das. So that humility means I understand that everyone is Nitya Krishna Das, and I offer all honor and respect to them, and I don't require in my life for people to honor and respect me. I don't need that in my life. I don't like it, I don't even want it. I'm happy and fully satisfied to give all honor and respect to other people. That's humility. But we think that low self-esteem is humility. Instead of someone saying, I'm the greatest, you say, I'm the lowest. But that's just negative false ego. There's positive false ego, I'm the best, and then there's negative false ego, I'm the worst. It's the same thing. It's just false ego. But it's negative. It's always focused on me. I am this, I am that, I am the best, I'm the worst, you know. Whereas real humility is not focused on I, on me. It's focused on you. How can I serve you? How can I glorify you? How can I praise your wonderful qualities? So the whole focus is different. Humility is giving all honor and respect to everyone else. And low self-esteem means that I'm not worthy, anybody should give me any respect. I'm so fallen, I'm so horrible. Yet you see the difference?
Yes, but for example, if someone comes and tells you, okay, you go and do this, and you're humble and you see everybody as superior to you, you may end up doing things just because some other people want you to do them, and because you're humble and they can ask you to do that.
Well, they can ask you, but they can't hold a gun to your head and force you.
Yes, but when do you do and when do you not do? How do you know?
Well, the thing is, do you want to do it? Someone says, the floor needs to be cleaned. Would you please clean the floor, let's say, temple room floor? they're inviting you to do service for the Lord. Now, if you see this as direct service to God, then you say, wow, thank you so much for allowing me to do this. This is Bhakti Yoga. Or you may be thinking, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go somewhere else and do something else. So what we're talking about here is, what is the mentality of the person who's asking you to do something, and what is your mentality, hearing what they're saying? Now, if they're both Vaishnavas, let's say, he's asking in a very humble, sweet way, would you like to do this seva, for clean the temple floor for Gaura-Nitai? You say, oh yes, I'd be so happy to accept this service on behalf of the Lord. Or he can say, I need someone to clean the temple room here. You do it. I don't want to do it, you do it. You say, no, I don't want to do it, because you don't like the mood. The whole thing is spoiled. So it depends on our mentality.
But he can ask in a nice way, but in fact his mentality is not that way.
Okay, so
Manipulate you.
okay, so sometimes we become fearful that we're being manipulated. Now, it may be the case that we're not being manipulated, but I think I am. Or it may be the case that I am being manipulated and I don't want to be manipulated. But in all situations, whatever the situation is, I should behave like a Vaishnava. So I can say, yes, it is a very wonderful opportunity you're giving me to clean the floor. But unfortunately, I already have a prior commitment, and I can't break that. So, please try and find someone else, and give me more time. I need more time. You can't just tell me in 1 second later I respond. I need more time, because I have other things that I do in my life. It's not the only thing I do. There's a way to handle a situation, to diffuse any negativity, if there is any negativity. And it's also a way to slip out, so if you don't want to do anything. However, that's one way of dealing. I had a different way of approaching this situation. So I had a private heart-to-heart talk with Krishna. And I said, my dear Lord, I want to do everything that you want me to do. Not that, someone else wants me to do. I just want to do whatever you want me to do. So whenever you want me to do something, you send your representative, your devotee, to ask me to do it. And if you don't want me to do something, then you're in everyone's heart, then you just don't have that person approach me. Because Krishna controls everybody from within the heart. So many years ago, I said like that. So whenever anybody comes and asks me to do something, I always think, okay, Krishna, you want me to do it. And I do it. So I've already made that arrangement. So I'm happily thinking that this is what Krishna wants me to do, and I'm doing it, because I've made an arrangement with Krishna. So maybe that's what you might want to do, make some arrangement with Krishna. Somehow or other, you have to learn how to behave with other people in this world in such a way that you always remain a Vaishnava and you don't misbehave in such a way that later on you don't feel good about it. Like you're saying, I feel abused or manipulated or something. So you want to come up with some method of behavior to eliminate that. So have a heart-to-heart talk with Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, sometimes I feel I'm being manipulated. Sometimes I feel people take advantage of me. How do I solve this problem? 'Cause I don't want to feel like that. Have a heart-to-heart talk with him. Ask Krishna to help you. Ask Krishna to give you some advice. Whatever. If Krishna's your best friend, that's what you do to a best friend. You go and you reveal your mind and ask for assistance. If we never talk to Krishna, then how is he our best friend? So the whole point is to establish a relationship with Krishna. But if I never establish a relationship with Krishna, then what is the meaning of my bhakti yoga? Bhakti yoga doesn't mean that, I dress in a certain way and I eat certain foods and that's it. No. It means I'm establishing a loving relationship with the supreme lover. I have a loving relationship with the Supreme. And this is the process to develop it. And because I love him, the Supreme, therefore everyone else who is a devotee of Krishna, I also see them in a favorable way. So I have to understand what my own position is in relationship to Krishna and in relationship to the other devotees and in relationship to the non-devotees. I have to understand how to behave in all these different situations. It's an art and a science of relationships.
Yes, but if I'm not pure, I may misinterpret the message from Krishna.
Well, here's how you solve that.
I wish to choose.
Here's how you solve that problem. My dear Lord, I'm approaching you and I want your guidance and I want to make sure that I don't misinterpret your message. So please give me your message in such a way that I'll know 100% it's coming from you and I know 100% it's not my mind and I'll never be able to misinterpret. And Krishna can do that. He can give it to you in such a way that there's no doubt in your mind 100%. You just ask for it. In other words, you have to reveal your heart to Krishna. He's in their heart. He's right there. He knows anyway what's going on in your life. It's not that he doesn't know. But because you're not approaching him, so he's just keeping his distance. He's not intervening until you request his intervention. Then he's very happy to help. But he's not going to just move in and start taking over and doing things without your consent, because he's given you the freedom to be your own person, to make all your own decisions, to make all your own mistakes. We have the freedom to make all these mistakes. And he won't correct them unless we ask him, okay, I'm blowing it big time. I'm not making the proper decisions. I need your guidance. I need your help. Then you ask for it, but you ask for him to reveal it to you in such a way that it's an unmistakable sign that it's from him, that you know 100% it's not your mind, that you're not misinterpret. And he can reveal it to you like that. That's Krishna. He's in your heart. There's nothing he can't do. He can do anything and everything, no problem. All right? You had a point, a question?
You already answered me.
I already answered. Oh, okay. That's pretty good. That's like what they say in Jagannath Puri. You do two things at once. You go watch the Rath Yatra and you sell bananas at the same time. Any other points for discussion? Oh, okay. Oh, really? That's in the Bhagavatam?
No.
I know, I'm just a joke. Hare Krishna, yesterday you were mentioning that Krishna does not fulfill material desires. I didn't say that, and you spelt material wrong. But in the Bhagavatam it is said that if one has material desires, he should approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, we approach Krishna for all our material desires and all our spiritual desires, but a Vaishnava doesn't approach for material desires because he knows that's foolish. Because a material desire is something very temporary. Why should I go to the topmost guy who can do everything and who can give me eternal life Why should I ask him for some paltry little material desire that has no meaning? You know, in the whole scope of things, I have millions of births, and in this tiny little life, I just want this little thing. So it doesn't make sense to ask for a material desire. So Krishna fulfills all desires. That's very clear. He says he fulfills all desires. But he'd rather not fulfill your material desires. He would rather fulfill your spiritual desires. Therefore, we mentioned yesterday how to make a material desire into a spiritual desire by utilizing everything in the service of Krishna. Right? Whatever we have, if we utilize it in the service of Krishna, it becomes spiritualized. So that solves that problem. Okay, thank you very much. So tonight we're having another program in Arad. How many people are coming to Arad? Very good. So we'll be singing and having a good time and sharing our love and devotion for Krishna with others. That's what it's all about. Preaching doesn't mean going and making people believe what I believe. Preaching means you go and you share. You share the love for Krishna that's in your heart with others for their benefit, so that they can see that there's a positive alternative to life. It's not just a struggle to survive, to pay the bills, and get a little sense enjoyment. But there's a whole other aspect of life, a spiritual aspect. And we want to share our devotion and our bliss in service to Krishna so that people will be inspired to say, what is it about you? You're different than anyone else I ever met. You're always smiling. You're always happy. What's your secret? And as soon as they ask you that question, now you can preach. Now you can tell them. But before they ask, they're not interested, so there's no point in saying anything. Just give them prasadam. Give them a book. Here's how you do book distribution. You ask them, do you believe in God? If they say yes, you say, then you'll love this book. Or if they say no, I don't believe in God, then you say, then you'll love this book. And you tell them why, because I also didn't believe in God. Someone gave me this book, and it gave me such insight into the reality of our universe and of relationships with people that it gave me a whole different perspective on life. And so this is the most important book that changed my life. And because you're such a nice person and I like you so much, I want to give it to you. Then they like you. You're their friend. Remember that guy yesterday? He had a knife. He wanted to take all my money. But he couldn't harm me because I became his friend. I wanted to help him. Oh, I'm so sorry you don't have money. Let's go out on the street and I'll help you collect. He couldn't harm me. And I had money. There's Krishna's money. You know, I'm not going to give Krishna's money to some guy. All right? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.